Absolutely. Well, sticking with that theme, Shane, let's kick it over to Ole Miss, Arkansas. I mean, that until this Alabama A&M, this was a damn game of the year. 52-51. Ole Miss holds on thanks to a failed 2-point conversion late in the game. I love the call by Sam Pittman. Obviously didn't get executed, but when you're on the road, hell, you can't stop Ole Miss to save your life. Neither one of these teams could stop the other here late in the game. And
right.
I mean, it's hard to believe, Shane, it was 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. You're like, wow, these defenses, how about it? Nope. I mean, in the second half, it was basically whoever had the ball, you knew was going to score. I mean, we're trading touchdowns here. I think there was 3 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the game here. So just a wild, wild game. KJ Jefferson, my God, he sacrificed himself time and time again to get in the end zone. He was outstanding. Matt Corral, he was incredible. 4 touchdowns for Corral. And, I think the most concerning thing, I think we already suspected that Ole Miss didn't have much of a defense, but now all of a sudden Arkansas's defense getting shredded 2 weeks in a row, and particularly late in the game. They don't have any elite corners by any means, but you cannot let Ole Miss get 20 yards behind you like they were consistently doing time and time again here in the second half. So that has got to be cleaned up. But, hey, we finally got that popcorn that Lane Kiffin promised, and I don't know. This was an entertaining game. Obviously, if you're an Arkansas fan, the wrong side of it. But Ole Miss, I mean, this is how you live your life. You live it on the edge. Yep. You're hoping and praying that Matt Corral has the ball last, because if he does, you're going to win the game. If not, you got to put it in the hands of your defense. And man, they almost gave it up there. But this was one hell of a game, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think you like offense? This is it, man. I'm telling you. You know the old saying, you never take the under when it comes to an Ole Miss game. 103 points scored in this damn thing. And if you would have told – I mean, we talked about this going into Saturday's game. We didn't think that – we knew there'd be a lot of points scored, but we didn't think it would just get out of hand. And I think that's where Arkansas messed up. They found themselves playing – Ole Miss football,
Right.
They got away from what they like to do, and that's exactly what Lane wanted. They want shootouts. I mean, that's their bread and butter. You saw what happened with Alabama when they played them. They didn't make it a shootout. They made it a ground and pound and made them win things, a play at a time, and just unfortunately weren't able to do that this week. Well, they got Arkansas in their crosshairs, and they kept the hammer down. And but it made, I'll tell you what, some of the best, like I said, best football played was on this game, and a lot of people didn't get to see it. If you didn't get to watch it, damn, just do a couple of highlight reels of some of the action that came out of here. We had a damn dogfight in this game.
Yeah, how about this, Shane? There was 25 total drives in this game. 16 of them were scoring drives.
Come on now.
Arkansas went to the red zone 8 times, scored on all 8 red zone attempts. I mean, it was a travesty of a defensive game. And, all of a sudden, let's give credit to Snoop Connor for Ole Miss. I mean, my goodness, he went off. He had 110 rushing yards on just 12 carries. Parrish had 111 on 18. Ole Miss 324 yards rushing. Arkansas 350 yards rushing. Man, I mean, this was just excitement after excitement. And if you're a defensive coordinator, you had to be disgusted with yourself watching this one. You know what?
Yeah, Sam was a little upset too. He's got to be. But what I liked about it, Mike, other than obviously I'm an offensive guy, so I like plenty of points on the board. But when the dust finally settled off this thing, and you start like looking at some of these plays and some of these decision makings, one of the hot ones I got to ask you, Mike, because you kind of hinted at it earlier, was that 2-point conversion. I don't know about you, man, but this was a game that last year was tight and could have gone either way. This year, it feels like this is going to be a new trend between these two programs, and I love it. I'm here for it. But I love the idea of going for 2 there. I see it torn, man. I see a lot of people out there saying we should have took this thing to overtime, blah, blah, blah. But it just felt like that was the right call, given the fact you're already at 103 points during this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very, very easy in hindsight to say, well, you didn't convert it. What the hell are you talking about? But your defense couldn't stop them to save their life. I mean, they couldn't stop them with a minute left on the clock and 80 yards to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there was no chance that either one of these teams was going to win, relying on their defense. So who's your hot hand? Your hot hand is KJ Jefferson and your offense. I mean, they're just incredible. You got to put it in their hands. The play call, we can pick it apart, but he had options there. It's not like it was like we saw the Auburn-Penn State where it was just a fade and there was no one running there. I mean, it was not flawless by any means. It didn't work out clearly, but yeah, I love that call, especially on the road, going up there, trying to end this thing. This is the SEC, man. We're not even halfway through the conference slate here.
Right.
You can't be going into 2 and 3 overtimes and all this, and because we gotta get up and play next week. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Particularly if I'm on the road, we just went back and forth over. I believe the total number was 1,278 yards, 1,278 total yards in this game.
Golly.
No, you playing for overtime? What the hell are you talking about? You if you've already racked up 700 yards, you can get 2 more. It just didn't work out. So
Absolutely.
you put it in their hands. But one thing I thought you were going to ask me about, Shane, because I know you hate this as much as I do. We got to do something about these damn guys faking injuries. I mean. I know that was brutal for some for Ole Miss lineman looking over. He's like, "Oh, is it my turn?" Okay, falling down, and it's not necessarily just Ole Miss's fault because we see it week in and week out. But I don't know. There's got to be some kind of repercussions for this, I think.
Yeah, there's got to be. But what can you do? I mean, you can't tell a kid that he's faking an injury without holding up the game. So I get it, and it almost needs to be a. I don't like these coaches get together and say, okay, we're not going to do that, but they're not. It's you see it every single week. Yeah, hell, I'm a Tennessee Vol fan, man. We're running right now. We're top 3 in the country with the amount of plays that we're doing per minute. So we're going to see that. You think a lot of people fell down this week? Hell, you wait till next week, Mike. It's going to be a sniper up there in the box hitting these little guys. So I'm with you. I didn't want to talk about it, but yes, it is clearly a problem. There's all kinds of problems, man. We're going to talk about later this Auburn game with the targeting. I think that's a problem. Mm-hmm. So it is not flawless right now. People they're gonna create new ways. They're gonna create new things, new advantages every single week, and this is just one right now that they can use to slow down some of these fast attacking offenses. But so I mean, it is what it is. But I will tell you, I've seen some pretty hilarious memes coming out of this thing. So when you slow down some of these guys falling with, Titanic music, it did make for some pretty fun entertainment later that night.
Lane, how big do you think it was for Matt considering how he played against Arkansas last year, how big do you think it was for him to, kind of step up and play against them the way that he did this time around? And did you guys have any conversations this week to kind of talk about what he could improve on from the time that y'all met up last year at all?
This wasn't about this week getting ready to play this defense. This was 12 months. So, when you get embarrassed like we did a year ago, at least me, offensively, we're going to try everything we can to figure out how to beat you. So that was 12 months of different unusual run game planning, double moves on the safeties versus certain splits and all this stuff that I think that's why you probably saw so much excitement in myself and him, during the game, because things were hitting that were schematical, things that we had worked on, and some of it was stuff that had never been run before against them that we just took an off season to say, all right, what if we did these things, and studied what hurt Iowa State, also in the Big 12 because similar defense. So, and that's where some of those runs that you saw, that's not in the passing game, that's those runs that you saw hitting, with Snoop. With different blocking schemes, and the backs did good, and you went from 12 months ago a 7 turnover game and a fumbled snap on the 4th and 1, so basically 8 turnovers to none. And I'm sure some people weren't happy when we didn't make the 4th down, but we made the other 4. So It's part of it. So I think that fourth down that ended up being a touchdown that was about a 4th and 4 was big because we'd already been stopping on the fourth down, and so it was kind of like, better make this one. So good job by the players picking that up and then turning it into 7 points.
Lane Snoop had some huge touchdown runs in the second half, kind of unleashed himself on that defense. Just your impressions of what you saw from him this afternoon.
Great job, as he's done whenever he gets his opportunities. My assistant Megan has a sign already up, Snoop, because she's been saying for 2 weeks we don't play him enough. And so when I walked in, the sign was already up on my door, Snoop. So she's happy. But I think as you look at this, what's unique versus a very tough defense that's very physical, you've got 6 yards total of lost rushing, on 80, 30, 45, 47 rush attempts. So, that you got to do that because you got to get the 3rd and 4th downs close against them. Otherwise, you're going to deal and drop 8 all day. So you got to be efficient like that.
And I had told them on that last drive, if we score with little to no time left on the clock, that we're going to go for 2 and make it. And I love the play call. We had three options there and on the play, and we just didn't convert it. So,
Sam, you covered a lot of it right there, but just why do you think Ole Miss had such a big offensive day?
I really don't know. A bunch of it was early time we didn't tackle. We any open field tackle, we couldn't get a guy on the ground, and that includes corral. We that was by far our poorest day tackling. And then when we had some busts in the secondary and guys were wide open, and then we couldn't fill the gap from the safety area on a simple little stretch play. And so I'm not positive why. I thought we had a really good, physical week of practice. We went good on good a lot. But the bottom line is we had too many mistakes defensively, and we couldn't tackle.
Curious about the last play, the 2-point call. What were you trying to get going there? And obviously it went to Burks.
Originally you have a pitch, so you have a pitch, and then you have a route, and then you have option of the quarterback to keep the ball, and I liked the play. I liked it all week. Our offense was ready for it, and basically, we felt like the pitch was there. I don't know if it was or not. I had to go back and look at the tape where we thought we could score just pitching the ball out there, and the end, our read did not go out, so he came straight up the field and got in our face a little bit. Probably, I don't know. I had to look at it and see if we should have pitched the ball or not on that. But it was just a 3-option loaded front offensively, and weren't able to execute it.